This is a diagram that I use to show how skills drive the design of an effective LinkedIn profile. When a person is looking for someone to hire, it's because they have a problem and they're looking for someone who has the skills to solve that problem. So if you list skills in your profile as opposed to a job position or something else, you're much more likely to be found. Another advantage is that there may be other jobs that use the same set of skills that you're not aware of, and if you list your skills, you're likely to be found in a search for people hiring for those other jobs, whereas if you only list your job position, you'll only be found for that specific job. As you can see, the first thing in the skills skeleton is the top 10 skills that you want to be known for, and these skills kind of frame and illuminate the business problem you solve. One way to define the skills that you'd like to be known for, or the skill keywords, is first to define your focus and then find at least 3 job descriptions that are for positions that are exactly what you'd like and dump them into a word cloud generator, either Wordle.net or tagcrowd.com. This will give you a word cloud, and the more frequent a word appears, it will be bigger. So you can look through this word cloud and find which hard skills are most commonly mentioned, see how those skills relate to your skills, and then use their terminology rather than, if you're using another word, it's better to use their terminology. That way you can come up with skill keywords that should always be used when you're talking about that skill, rather than using different words to refer to the same skill. And after you have the keywords defined, you can fill out the skills list in your LinkedIn profile. Going back to our diagram, now that you have your keywords defined, the first place that you use them is in your headline. And that would list between 4 to 6 of those skills. And again, just for reference, this is the headline that lists those skills. The next place you would list the skills is a summary. The summary would contain quantified accomplishments that prove you have those skills, and in the summary you'll list all 10 skills. Again, this is the summary, and numbers are really important in the summary to give proof that you have those skills and that you have accomplished things using those skills. 3 parts are a very brief story about yourself, maybe just a sentence or 2. I'm a professional with so many years of experience. The second thing is a list of quantified accomplishments. Again, the numbers are extremely important to give some scope to the accomplishment that you've had. And also listing your specialties, which again are that list of 10 key skill sets. And then if you'd like, you can attach videos or work samples. So going on down the profile, the next place that you would list your skills is the work experience. And your work experience shows where you got those skills. If people see that you list skills, they expect to see those skills somewhere in your work experience. And again, this is a sample work experience. It shows where you got the skills. And each job position should have a bulleted list of 3 to 5 accomplishments with those skill keywords that you've decided on. And again, you can attach video or work samples to this also. Now, going on from your work experience, you can have recommendations attached to each work experience. You should have at least 1 or 2 preferably. And the recommendations are much more effective if they use those skill keywords that you've decided on, as opposed to just recommending you as a person. So that's why it's really helpful when you're asking for a recommendation to give the person a template that they can kind of use, and within that template use those skill keywords. And that will help your profile rate much higher in the search results. We'll get to that a little bit later. Moving on down, here's your skills list, where you list those keywords that we talked about earlier. And then you can have endorsements made on that skill list. And endorsements are fairly new. Some people tend to think they're not that important, but the truth is that they're very, very important, because it's so easy for the endorsements to be counted in the search algorithm that the more endorsements you have, the higher you will come up in the search results. So you should always have at least 20 endorsements for any skill that's in that list. Or if your network is bigger, you should have 10 to 20% of your network endorsing the skills, preferably over 20%. If it's any less than that, you may not be seen as credible by a recruiter. Again, this is an example of the endorsements for the skills list. And again, you should have at least 10% of your network endorsing your skills, or 20% preferably. Going on down the profile, your education and certifications show where you got your initial credibility. It may not be appropriate to use those keywords down here, but if it fits what you're saying, you definitely want to use those keywords. The same for volunteering experience. It kind of shows what differentiates you, and your honors and projects. If it's appropriate to use those skill keywords, great, but if they don't fit, of course, don't use them. Now in the search results, different parts of your profile are weighted differently depending on where they are. The headline is very heavily weighted, so if you have those skills in the headline, it will make you appear higher in the search results than people appear that only have the skills further down in their profile. Again, the summary is weighted, but not quite as highly as the headline. And the work experience and skills lists are also heavily weighted, but they're variable in the sense that you can have a different number of recommendations or a different number of endorsements. And the more recommendations and the more endorsements you have, the more it will weight you if they use those skill keywords. So that's important. Going on down, education, volunteering, and honors are weighted, but not as heavily as the other three things. So now I'll get back to your review.